It was past 9 at night when Charlene Ross landed at Goldland Airport. It was her birthday. As soon as she turned on her phone, it lit up with a barrage of birthday wishes. All were from colleagues and friends. But not a single word from Thorne Henderson. Charlene's smile faded slightly. When she got to the villa, it was well past 10. The housekeeper, Latonia, was stunned upon seeing her. "Mrs. Ross, what brings you here? Where are Thorne and Minnie?" "Mr. Henderson hasn't come home yet, and Miss Minnie is up in her room, playing." Handing her luggage to Latonia, Charlene went upstairs. She found her daughter, cozy in pajamas, totally wrapped up in whatever she was doing at her little table, too absorbed to even see her mom come in. "Minnie?" Jasmine Henderson looked up with a bright smile. "Mommy." Then, she quickly turned back to what she was doing. Charlene wrapped her in a hug, only to be pushed away gently. "Mommy, I'm busy now." It had been 2 months since Charlene last saw Jasmine, and no amount of hugs seemed enough. She was eager to catch up with her. Seeing her so focused, Charlene didn't want to dampen her spirits. "Are you making a seashell necklace, Minnie?" "Yes." Jasmine perked up. "It's for Ms. Hawkins' birthday next week. Dad and I picked these shells and polished them ourselves. Aren't they pretty?" Charlene felt a lump in her throat, but Jasmine excitedly continued before she could speak. "Dad also ordered some other gifts for Ms. Hawkins." Tomorrow. Charlene felt a sudden pang in her chest and couldn't hold back. "Minnie, do you know what today is?" "Huh? What?" Jasmine glanced up briefly before making her necklace again. "Mom, please, I mixed up the order of the beads now." Charlene let go, standing in silence for a long moment. Seeing Jasmine not even bothering to look up, she left the room without a word. Latonia saw her distressed look. "Mrs. Henderson, I called Mr. Henderson earlier. He said he's tied up tonight and asked you to rest." "I understand." After remembering Jasmine's words, Charlene dialed Thorne's number. It took a while before he answered, his voice distant. "I'm still busy. Let's talk tomorrow." "Thorne, who's that so late?" It was Vesta Hawkins' voice in the background. Charlene's grip on the phone tightened. "It's nothing." Before Charlene could get a word in, Thorne had hung up. It had been months since they last saw each other. Charlene had made the trip to Goldland, but he couldn't manage to come home or even stay on the phone long enough for a proper chat. Their marriage had always been cold, distant, and impatient like that, and she had grown accustomed to it. Usually, she would have called back, patiently asking where he was and if he could come home. But perhaps too weary, she couldn't muster the energy to do so. The following morning, she gave Thorne another call after some thought. With the time difference between Goldland and back home, it was still her birthday in Goldland. She came hoping to see Jasmine and Thorne, wishing they could spend this special day together as a family and have a meal. That was her birthday wish for the year. Thorne didn't pick up. Much later, he sent a message. "What's up, Charlene, are you free for lunch? Can you bring Minnie?" "Just the 3 of us." "Thorne, all right, let me know where." "Charlene, will do." After that, Thorne went silent. He had completely forgotten it was Charlene's birthday. Even though Charlene had braced herself for disappointment, she still couldn't help but feel a sting of sadness. After getting ready for the day, she was about to head downstairs when she heard Jasmine and their nanny, Latonia, chatting away. "Is everything all right, sweetie? You seem a bit down," Latonia inquired, concern lacing her voice. Jasmine answered sadly, "I was really looking forward to hitting the beach with Ms. Hawkins tomorrow. Dad and I had everything planned. Now that Mom's shown up out of nowhere, it'd be kind of awkward if she came with us. And Mom's always so mean to Ms. Hawkins." Latonia said, "Honey, she's your mom. You shouldn't talk like that. It could hurt her feelings." "I know, but Dad and I like Ms. Hawkins more. Can't I have Ms. Hawkins be my mom?" Charlene couldn't make out Latonia's response after that. She had raised Jasmine with all the love a mother could give. Yet these past 2 years, the father-daughter bond had seemingly grown stronger with her husband, Thorne, spending more time with Jasmine. Tommy had moved to Goldland last year to expand his business, and Jasmine insisted on going with him. Heartbroken, Charlene had hoped Jasmine would want to stay with her. But she couldn't stand the thought of Jasmine being unhappy, so she agreed. And then, Charlene froze, her face turning pale as Jasmine's words weighed her down, rooting her to the spot. She had taken time off work to come to Goldland, hoping to spend more quality time with Jasmine. But it seemed utterly pointless. Then, retreating to her room, Charlene carefully repacked the gifts she had brought from home into her suitcase. Later, Latonia called to say she had taken the child out, telling Charlene to reach out if she needed anything. Sitting on the bed, Charlene felt an overwhelming sense of emptiness. She had made this trip, leaving her job behind, only to realize they didn't need her. Her presence felt like a joke. After some time, she left the house and wandered through this land that was both foreign and familiar to her. It wasn't until nearly noon that she remembered she had made lunch plans with Thorne. Recalling the morning's conversation, she hesitated on whether to go back and include her daughter when a message from Thorne popped up. "Something's come up. I need to cancel lunch." Charlene wasn't surprised. She had grown accustomed to this. To Thorne, work or social gatherings and everything seemed more important than his wife. He would cancel their plans on a whim, never considering her feelings. Did it hurt? Maybe it once did. But at the moment, Charlene felt numb, immune to the disappointment. Charlene felt even more lost. She had come all this way, eager and hopeful, only to be met with indifference from both her husband and her daughter. Before she knew it, she was standing outside a restaurant she and Thorne used to go to all the time. As she was about to enter, she spotted Thorne, Vesta Hawkins, and Jasmine inside, cozily seated together. Vesta was engaging warmly with their daughter, sharing laughs and bites of her pastry while Thorne looked on with affection, his attention seemingly reserved for Vesta alone. This was Thorne's important matter. And there was their daughter, born from Charlene's flesh, enjoying the company of another woman. Charlene laughed bitterly. She watched them for a moment longer, then turned and walked away. Back at the villa, Charlene prepared a divorce agreement. Thorne had been the dream of her youth, yet he had never cared about her. If it weren't for that one night's mistake and the pressure from their families, he would have never married her. She had naively thought he would notice her one day if she tried hard enough. But reality had slapped her hard in the face. It had been almost 7 years. It was time to wake up. She placed the divorce papers in an envelope and gave them to Latonia, telling her to hand them to Thorne. Then, with her suitcase in tow, Charlene instructed the driver, "Take me to the airport." It was just past 9 when Tommy and Jasmine got home. Jasmine clung to her dad's shirt. Her movements were sluggish as she got out of the car. She didn't want to come home because her mom was there. But Vesta had told her that Charlene came specially to spend time with her and her dad. They couldn't just stay out, which would break Charlene's heart. Tommy had also mentioned that if they didn't come home tonight, Charlene would join them on their boating trip tomorrow. Reluctantly, she agreed to return. Still, she couldn't help worrying, muttering, "Dad, what if Mommy insists on coming with us tomorrow?" "It won't happen," Thorne said with assurance. Over the years of their marriage, Charlene always tried to find chances to spend more time with him, but she was sensible enough to back off whenever he made it clear he needed space. In Jasmine's memory, Charlene always listened to Thorne. If he said it wouldn't happen, then it certainly wouldn't. Finally feeling relieved, Jasmine's mood lifted. She bounced into the house, telling Latonia she would take a shower. "Okay," Latonia responded. Remembering Charlene's instructions, she handed Thorne an envelope. "Mr. Henderson, Mrs. Henderson asked me to give this to you." Tommy took it, casually asking, "Where is she?" "She packed up and left around noon." "Didn't you know?" Tommy paused on his way upstairs, turning back. "She left?" Latonia nodded. "Yes." Thorne had never let Charlene explain why she came to Goldland, and he didn't care much. Knowing she had left didn't bother him either. Jasmine was surprised to hear it, feeling a slight sense of loss, she figured it would be nice to have her mom around in the evening, especially if her mom didn't join their outing the next day. Plus, her hands always hurt from polishing shells, and she had hoped her mom would help her finish. Thorne and Charlene hadn't seen each other for months. Charlene had come all this way yet hadn't even seen Thorne. Remembering Charlene's unhappy expression upon leaving, Latonia couldn't help but mention, "Mr. Henderson." Mrs. Henderson seemed upset when she left. It looked like she was angry. Latonia had initially thought Charlene had urgent business to attend to back in the country. Then, realizing Thorne didn't know about her return, she sensed something was off. Angry? Charlene's always been super patient and nice to me. Wait, she can actually get mad? That's a first. Thorne chuckled dismissively, barely acknowledging Latonia before heading upstairs. Entering his room, he was about to open Charlene's letter when Vesta's call came through. After picking up, he carelessly tossed the envelope aside and left the room. The envelope fell to the floor beside the bed. Thorne didn't come home that night. The next day, when Latonia came to clean up, she saw the envelope on the floor and recognized it as the one Charlene had given to her for Thorne the day before. Assuming Thorne had read it, she casually placed it in a nearby cabinet. After landing, Charlene headed straight to her room to pack. She'd been there 6 years and had plenty of stuff, but she only took some clothes, personal items, and her professional books. Thorne had always provided for her and Jasmine, depositing money into 2 separate accounts monthly. One was hers, and the other was Jasmine's. However, Charlene usually used her card for expenses, never touching Jasmine's account. Moreover, because she loved Thorne, every time she went shopping and saw stuff that would suit him, like clothes, shoes, cufflinks, and ties, she couldn't resist buying them for Chim.